Feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hello, welcome to the post-show wrap-up of The Shrimp Tank, coming to you from the Business Accelerant Studio. I'm Dan Wheaton, along with my co-host for today, Andy Vernon. We just had a great podcast visit with Chris Henrickson, president of Lewis Funeral Chapel and the Stone Chapel Poulsbo Mortuary. You will want to listen to the whole podcast. It's on www.shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle. You can also subscribe to both iHeartRadio and iTunes. We're always interested in your feedback. Chris, one of the things that fascinated me about our conversation was the concept of pre-planning. And that not as many people as I thought, because my father did it, not as many people as I thought actually do it. It would make people's lives and families' lives much easier. Talk a little bit about the whole concept of pre-planning your funeral.
Well, from coming in to meet with one of our counselors, you can take down everything that you want or give us instruction about everything you want from services, cremation, viewings, burial. Put that all down on paper. You can pay for it all ahead of time, which saves you money because you're paying the cost now as opposed to at the time of need. And most importantly, I think, is it does relieve that kind of burden of decision making on your next of kin. And I think that's important. I think more people should pre-plan.
Because it's a chaotic time,
because
right?
it is a chaotic time. It can be anyway, an emotional time.
Right.
And not having to make those decisions in an emotional state, I think it's a good thing. So pre-planning offers peace of mind and financial savings as well. And in the end, we find our families are very happy who have pre-planned. So.
We're big planners, and I can see how something like that would really help take some of the stress out of the whole process, which brings me to my question. And actually, before I get into that, I will tell you that in everything I know about the mortuary business now, I pretty much know from you, Chris. So thank you. I've learned a lot about
welcome.
that. You account for all of my knowledge at this point. But when folks don't pre-plan, and I have to think that most people don't, right? Your experience is that certainly you'd like to see more of it, but for most people, the first time you're meeting with them is after the death of a family member.
Correct.
Can you talk about when that emotional state does hit and suddenly they've got to respond, and can you talk about your role kind of getting them through the process and allowing them to focus on their grieving?
Yeah. When you have a family together in a conference room, there's of course all kinds of different emotions. I have to, of course, make things happen for our families. I have to ask certain questions. I have to have certain paperwork signed. But that's part of the process. But listening to what the families want to have accomplished is extremely important. I take copious notes to make sure that we follow exactly what they want to have accomplished. And listening because everybody has a different approach they take to the grieving process when a death occurs. Some families will be they'll laugh and joke and all that kind of stuff. Other individuals will be crying and very distraught, and I have to be able to listen to all those people and satisfy all their needs, and I have to work towards getting the families on the same playing field, basically, so we can accomplish everything from getting the death certificate information together to obituaries, putting that together. And any other details that the family might need us to take care of for them, life insurance assignments, that kind of stuff. We want to make sure everybody's on the same page, especially if we don't want there to be any confusion, is what it comes down to. So if everybody's on the same page, everything will go according to as the family wants, and in the end, the families are happy and are thankful for the service we provided.
And Chris, that really leads me to my final question for you. I would think that many people out there think, funeral directors, they're all the same. I'm just going to call the first one that comes up, or I'm going to go to Yelp or something like that.
Right.
Your funeral home has been around for 110 years. Talk a little bit about what makes you different and why people should look to your organization.
Well, obviously, being around 110 years says something about our family's business, our firms, and our cemeteries. We're able to help our families in our community, and 110 years is we're very proud of that. We have multiple locations. We have 2 cemeteries, our own crematory. We have online presence where people can have online memorials placed, and you can leave comments on that, and allow families that don't have services to still see what their friends in the community have thought about them, and that kind of stuff. We're family owned, so you're likely going to be meeting with myself or even my sister. If you pre-plan, you'd be meeting with my sister. We have a staff that's been around for a long time. They're making a career of working with our funeral firms.
And maybe one day in the future, your daughter, right? You never,
and maybe one day in the future, my daughter. So, so those are some important things that people can consider. And then, of course, visiting us on our website, they can get all kinds of information about our funeral home, our pricing, what we have to offer. So.
Well, Chris, we want to thank you for joining us. And speaking of your website, there are probably many different ways that people can get in touch with you. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, lewischapel.com, poulsbomortuary.com. There's Facebook, of course, and you can call us or email us, calling us at 360-377-3836, or you can just email us to info@lewischapel.com or info@poulsbomortuary.com.
That's great. And once again, this is just a taste of what you can expect by listening to the entire podcast. Visit shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle or listen to us on iHeartRadio. You can also subscribe to our podcast on iTunes. We would love to hear from you, and please do not forget to rate us a 5, of course, Dan. Thanks to all of our shrimp peelers sponsors, and to you, our listeners and followers.
Well, our next show, Andy, is going to be in 2 weeks from this Business Accelerant studio. We're going to have Dr. Tom Lamar, who is from Anchor Chiropractic. So I guess you could say, instead of having bones in the coffin, we're going to be cracking bones during that one. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and you're right. This show, the hay is in the barn.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp